So with muzzles, we're going to talk about sizing first. So sizing is, it's really important that your dog has plenty of space to be able to pant, eat, and drink in the muzzle. We don't want it to be so snug that their mouth is closed and can't open their mouth in it. We want them to have plenty of space in it so that way whenever their mouth goes in, they have plenty of space in there. So for the fit, you should be able to see whenever the muzzle goes on his nose that whenever it goes on, it's sitting on top of his nose here, but he still has plenty of space underneath of his chin here to be able to eat snacks out of it, to be able to get water, as there is a little hole down here that he should be able to open his mouth to be able to eat out of and get snacks out of. So even whenever we buckle, there's plenty of space in here for him to be able to move his mouth around, open it, and there's a little bit of space in the front here, which is great too. When it comes to muzzle conditioning, you want to push all of these goodies back with your straps here so you can tell that they're underneath of it. It's easier whenever you're first starting to kind of push those out of your way if you do have a Baskerville. If you can't push them out of your way and you have a different size or style of muzzle, that's totally fine. The way that I like to hold it is at the bottom down here, and that way, left or right hand, that way I can just start to practice putting some snacks right in here and then letting them, just while we're sitting still, just eat snacks out of it. It's totally fine if they pop their nose in, get the snacks, and then pop right back out. You can also go ahead and start to name it. Right now, that doesn't hurt. Naming it just means muzzle, put your snacks in, and they want to put their nose in there. So that is the first piece of them just figuring out that snacks come out of the muzzle, happy things come out of it, which is awesome. If your dog isn't super food motivated, you've tried your kibble out of your muzzle, I typically say that you can, yes, good boy, you can absolutely use high value stuff for your muzzle to make it a fantastic thing. We want our dogs to want to put their nose in here. Now that your dog has started to eat food out of the muzzle and we're hanging out here, they want to put their nose in, they want to eat those snacks out of there, now we can start to, again, start to name it and start to add some movement. We always want our dogs to put their noses in the muzzle, yes, just like this, rather than us going to our dog with the muzzle and it becomes super awkward for them or forceful on their part. How the heck do we get our dogs to put their nose in here rather than us putting it on them? So same thing, you're still gonna have your hand at your muzzle over here, pull all of your straps back. I'm gonna grab snacks and go ahead and load it up in my muzzle, and I'm gonna be super fun, super exciting. It is helpful if your dog likes the snacks that are in here, of course. That's why we say that you can use high value stuff to get them motivated to put their nose in here. So I'm just gonna back up a little bit, and that's gonna create for him, hey, give me those snacks, give me those snacks. That's exactly what I want, is for him to want to put his nose in there. So I'm gonna load up my muzzle again with my snacks just in my hand like this, and I'm gonna back up or take just a couple of steps backwards, and I have my muzzle kind of at the height of his head as I'm backing up so he can put his head in there really quickly. This is whenever you can also start to name it if you haven't already. Load up my snacks, muzzle, 1 or 2 steps backwards, he shoves his face in there, gets the snacks, great. We're still not looking for them to have any duration in it, that's totally fine. Right, so adding duration for your muzzle so that way your dog doesn't just pop their head in there, get the snacks, and pop right back out. At this point, as you're adding duration to it, you can start to not have snacks in it. Of course, this is gonna take a bit. Don't do this all in one session. So I'm gonna say muzzle, he puts his nose in, yes! And your yes marker is really helpful here to be able to say yes once they stick their nose in there, to say yes, exactly, that's what I wanted. Good job, buddy. So then you can start to say muzzle, they put their nose in, yes! And then you can be faster with snacks than I am. Good job, buddy. So here you start to add duration by saying muzzle, offer them the muzzle, they stick their nose in, yes, great job. And then you're gonna continue to chain your yeses together, and that way you can catch it really quickly. And then you start to make those yeses get further and further away. So here I am gonna grab snacks in my hand, say muzzle, yes, whenever he sticks his nose in. So he got a couple of snacks there, he's done chomping, yes, catch him again, yes, him again, yes, he's gonna hang out in there, and give him some more snacks, break, good boy. So as you have duration in here, your dog is cool with hanging out for a couple of seconds. Same thing, you can go back to standing up, having them put their nose in the muzzle, and now we're gonna start to move with them while they have the muzzle on their nose. The clip can also be kind of tricky for dogs sometimes. So as you start to add duration, sometimes the clip can also be tricky for them if you have a clip or you're hanging out behind their head for a hot minute. So I just start to say muzzle. He sticks his nose in there. If he doesn't. So I just start to say muzzle. He sticks his nose in. Yes. Good boy. And then while he's chomping, I'm going to go ahead and clip. As I clip, yes, good boy. And I let that click happen, yes, really close together. The other key to adding duration with muzzle stuff is to have a leash on. I don't care if it's a slip lead, the walking tool that you have, or even just a flat collar. Any kind of leash has a tap on the shoulder for them is going to be really helpful to have an extension of yourself. It is completely normal for your dog to paw at the muzzle or to alligator sometimes and do this motion to get it off. All totally normal, and that's totally fine. So my leash here is just so that if he were to paw it off, I don't want him to be able to get it off. So I have my leash, even if it's dragging, just so I can pick it up and say, hey, I need you to knock it off. He stops, my leash pressure stops. That is the key here. Our leash is just to say, hey, I need you to get your paws away from your face. Okay, you did, thank you so much, and your pressure releases. So your next piece with duration, you have it on your dog, you clipped it, you VS'd, you rewarded. If your dog is also a little silly about taking snacks out of the muzzle, that's okay. So once you got to the point where you clipped it, you yes, you reward, you take it off, you put it back on your dog, you yes, you reward, you yes, you reward again, and then you take your muzzle off. You do those steps and you've gotten to the part where you can clip it and they're in it for just a couple of minutes as you're standing here. Now we have to teach them how to move with that thing on their face. So all I do is just have my leash super loose over here, no tension on, and I don't care in what position your body is or where your dog is in relation to your body. I just want them to start to move with that muzzle on their nose. So I have a handful of snacks. I'm going to put it in front of his nose, and I'm going to lure him for all of 2 steps, and I'm going to give him the snacks. So I'm going to lure him. He's walking, give him the snacks. Great job. And then same thing. As I'm walking, I'm going to lure him, feed him the snacks. The point here is just for him to get the snacks as his feet are moving. The further along you guys go with this process, then you take 2 steps without food and then you reward it. And then you take 3 steps or 4 steps without food and then you reward your dog for having it on their face. So snacks in front of his face, he got the snacks. Same thing, we're walking a little bit, takes a couple of steps. Yes! He gets the snacks. Buddy. Good job. Be mindful that this process isn't done in a couple of hours or the duration of this 10-minute video. It is done over a couple of days and hard work and lots of sessions with your dog. We say that your dog is fully muzzle conditioned whenever they can go for a full walk and they're not going to bother it at all.